On parle d'artistes. Artists, c'est la soirée. Les artistes, it's their night tonight. Storytellers and musicians from both communities are here for us to enjoy ourselves and to discover the beauty of music. So, I'll leave. Merci. Bonne soirée.
C'était une jeune fille qui voulait faire moudre son grain de citadin. Elle prit son sac à moudre et s'en va au moulin. Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout ci, tout ça. Nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. Plus fort que ça! Elle prit son sac à moudre et s'en va au moulin de Tigadin. Beau meunier, oh, voudrais-tu moudre mon grain? Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout c'est tout ça. Ta-di-da-di-la, ta-di-la, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. Beau meunier, oh, voudrais-tu moudre mon grain? Tica d'un plus fort. La belle s'est endormie, oh, sur le tic-tac du moulin. Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout c'est tout ça. Ta-di-da-di-la, ta-di-la, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. La belle s'est endormie, oh, sur le tic-tac du moulin. Tica-din. Plus fort. Quand elle s'est réveillée, yo, son petit sac y était plein. Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout ci, tout ça. Ta-di-da-di-la, ta-di-la, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. C'est beau! Quand elle s'est réveillée, yo, son petit sac y était plein. Tica-din. Que va dire ma mère de voir mon petit sac plein? Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout ci, tout ça. Ta-di-da-di-la, ta-di-la, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. Oh, que va dire ma mère de voir mon petit sac plein? Tica-din. C'est ça. Tu diras à ta mère que c'est du sarrasin. Tica 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 d'un Canada tourneau. Oh oui, a fit l'enfant, tout ci, tout ça. Ta-di-da-di-la, ta-di-la, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre, nous sommes en train de moudre. Yeah! Et mes amis, je te dis que ça joue de la musique. Aimez-vous ça, de la musique, vous autres? Ben moi, je suis bien content d'être là encore à soir. Et voyez-vous, pour une occasion spéciale comme celle-ci, j'ai mis mes beaux atours. It's pretty special, you know, because, well, last night I made you all know that my name is Cuthbert Grant. But not just any Cuthbert Grant. Pierriche Falcon's brother-in. That's right, remember it. Vous savez, j'ai eu bien pitié, moi, de Pierriche Falcon. Il a attendu bien longtemps avant de se marier, cet homme-là. C'est là que j'ai présenté ma belle-sœur. Ben, c'était pas ma belle-sœur, c'était ma sœur qui était belle. Mais ça marche ensemble. Mais je veux dire, la belle Marie, par rapport à ça, là, une jolie créature, vous pensez pas? Oui. C'est dans la famille, je veux dire, tu sais. Because back then, you see, Pierriche Falcon, he had studied in Quebec, and he had seen those pretty Québécois girls, you see, avec des robes jolies, puis des jupons moirés, hein. Mais dans l'Ouest, il y avait un problème. There was a lack of women down west. Oh, c'est vrai. Il y avait 2 coureurs de bois. And they had a mailbox, but never got mail. Well, this is way back, you know. They had no money for stamps. And, well, one day they received the Eaton's catalog. And they looked in this catalog, the 2 men, and they saw they had women for sale. And there was one that was half price till April. You know, 3 piastres et demi, c'est pas si pire. So they both decide, are we both going to get a few of them? Oh, no. He says, get one here first, and if she's as good as in the book, then I'll get my own, you know. Mais il a commandé sa femme. Il y a un mois qu'a passé. And when he met his friend again, he asked him, did you receive the lady? And he said, no, not yet, but I got her dress, so she's on her way. Ah oui, mais c'est ça que c'est, hein, à ce temps-là. No, Pierre got married to my sister, and the wedding was a magnificent wedding. Well, I'll talk about that later on, but I think we've got some good musicians here that are going to play some good music. Let's make welcome Clinton Pelletier et Daniel Gervais.
Thank you very much. That was called the French-Canadian Medley. Merci beaucoup. And so now we're going to play for you a song that was written by Bela Fleck and Edgar Meyer, and it's a bluegrass kind of Celtic piece called Woolly Mammoth, and it was written for a woolly mammoth. So here it goes.
Clinton Pelletier. C'est beau de voir des musiciens qui s'essayent. En tout cas, je sortirai pas mon violon à soir, oui. Ben, les soirées sont crues. You know, in the evenings it's pretty cold. I think autumn's on its way. Fall. And after that, winter and... Mais on vit au Canada, faut bien le prendre, hein? Mais moi, je suis éleveur de cochons. Ben, 3. I raise pigs, 3 pigs. It's enough for me and the family. And mais de la mouche à marde. It brings flies, you know. You got good meat, but there's flies everywhere, and then they're all over the place. So I don't mind the cold weather. Gets rid of the flies. There's always a good side of things, you know. Well, I was just thinking the other day, there was a fly that came over and, you know, right on in my plate. And I grabbed the fly. And when I went to squish the fly, you know how... That's when I thought to myself, I said, I wonder when you catch a fly, if you pull its wings off, does it make it a walk? En tout cas, mesdames et messieurs, je vous présente Alexis Trio.
Je sais pas si vous êtes comme moi. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I get the feeling that life is a series of lists of things to do. Here's another one. Un pot de thé, un bouquet de fleurs séchées, une chanson incomplète sur un bout de serviette, un chandail pas à la mode, une lettre d'amour écrite en code. Quand je les aperçois, je pense à toi, mais y a rien comme ton regard charmant. Je me perds au milieu de ton univers envoûtant. Le sourire dans tes yeux brillants me fait réaliser que c'est ça l'important. Une paire de billets pour un voyage imaginaire, un sac plein de souhaits, une liste de choses à faire, un tour en vélo, une figurine de super-héros, une bouchée d'omelette oubliée sur l'assiette. Mais y a rien comme ton regard charmant. Je me perds au milieu de ton univers envoûtant. Le sourire dans tes yeux brillants me fait réaliser que c'est ça l'important. Ton regard charmant, ton univers envoûtant. C'est ça l'important. Une collation sucrée, ton odeur sur mon oreiller, une soirée cinéma, endormi dans tes bras. Mais y a rien comme ton regard charmant. Je me perds au milieu de ton univers envoûtant. Le sourire dans tes yeux brillants me fait réaliser que c'est ça l'important. Y a rien comme ton regard charmant. Je me perds au milieu de ton univers envoûtant. Le sourire dans tes yeux brillants me fait réaliser que c'est ça l'important. j'ai une mauvaise habitude. J'ai l'habitude de refaire des affaires et de reconstruire des affaires juste pour le fun. I have a bad habit, and it's the habit of redoing things often. And I'll never rewash the dishes or anything, but sometimes I like to redo stuff just to have fun with it. So this is an old folk song that my dad used to sing to me, à la claire fontaine. Fontaine m'en allant promener, j'ai trouvé l'eau si belle que je me suis baignée. Il y a longtemps que je t'aime jamais, je ne t'oublierai. Sous les feuilles d'un chêne, je me suis fait sécher. Sur la plus haute branche, un rossignol chantait. Il y a longtemps que je t'aime jamais, je ne t'oublierai. Chante, rossignol, chante, toi qui as le cœur gai. Tu as le cœur à rire, mais moi, je l'ai à pleurer. Que je t'aime jamais, je ne t'oublierai. J'ai perdu mon ami sans l'avoir mérité pour un bouton de rose que je lui refusais. Il y a longtemps que je t'aime jamais, je ne t'oublierai. Je voudrais que la rose plût encore au rosier. Je serais sa maîtresse dans les mêmes amitiés. Il y a longtemps que je t'aime jamais, je ne t'oublierai. J'ai trouvé l'eau si belle que je me suis baignée. Il y a longtemps que je t'aime jamais, 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 je ne t'oublierai, jamais je ne t'oublierai.
Alexis Trio. C'est tellement beau. En parlant de mouches, tant qu'en parler, on va en parler. Speaking of flies, a few months ago, with my horse and buggy, I passed the speed limit, going too fast. Ça arrive quand on est pressé, voyez-vous. Puis moi, comme je suis tout le temps pressé, tout d'un coup, j'entends derrière de moi, là, wouh! RCMP. Horseback. Oh yeah. Dans l'ancien temps, ça. The real mounted police. Stops. Sir, you've been speeding. I said, I know. I'm in a hurry. And as he's giving me my ticket, there's all these flies. Voyons, il y a ben de la mouche shit. I looked at those flies and said, that's funny. That type of fly I've seen before. But it's a very peculiar kind of fly. He said, what do you mean? Well, I've seen those flies before, but there's only one place where they always kind of stick around. He says, yeah, but where's that? I said, under my horse's tail. He said, are you trying to say that I'm a... I said, no. I would never think that of an officer. Just the flies, don't know the difference. C'est une vérité que je vous raconte là. Moi, je veux dire, j'invente rien. Ça vous dirait de chanter une chanson à répondre? Chantez bien fort. Car il va tomber dans mon chemin. Un homme à cheval et puis l'autre à pied. Nicolas, tu n'as pas vu mon bouton doré. Tiens, pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. C'est ça. Un homme à cheval et puis l'autre à pied. Tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. C'est ça, plus fort que ça. Celui d'à pied m'a demandé, Nicolas, tu n'as pas vu mon bouton doré. Tiens, pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Où irons-nous ce soir coucher? Tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va... Pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Tu coucheras dans le poulailler, Nicolas, tu n'as pas vu mon bouton doré. Tiens, pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Tu coucheras dans le poulailler, tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Sur toi, les poules vont se percher, Nicolas, tu n'as pas mon bouton doré. Tiens, pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens, pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Sur toi, les poules vont se percher. Tiens pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Sur toi, les poules vont se percher. Tiens pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. T'en sortiras tout barbouillé, Nicolas, tu n'as pas vu mon bouton doré. Tiens pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Encore, tiens pas ton cabaret, ma cousine, tiens pas ton cabaret, car il va tomber. Bien fort! Daniel Gervais au violon. On peut dépluguer ça, là? Moi, les affaires modernes, là. Ben, à soir, il n'y a pas rien que moi qui va conter des histoires. I'm not the only storyteller tonight. There's a special storyteller, straight from Zenon Park. Un cher ami qui s'appelle Jos Marchildon. Vous allez voir, il n'est pas battu pour des histoires, lui.
Ah, t'es mieux de descendre ça, ouais, bon. Pas mal, là, ouais. Bon.
Parlez fort, là, qu'on couvre.
Ouais. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Good evening. J'ai l'air du diable, hein? Mais j'ai couché le long de la route hier soir. So I had to sleep by the road. I had trouble. I was supposed to be here last today. So I'm in pretty bad shape. But we'll tell you a story. Vous connaissez ça? Oui, j'ai une pipe. Une pipe à qui? That's the pipe of the voyageur. It's a wooden stem with a plaster bowl. And you know what? Why they use this? To smoke, yeah, okay, smoke. That's number one. Number two. Hey? Right. So the pipe was used to measure distances, not in miles, not in kilometers. They would measure the distance with the pipe. So they called it the pipé. So each pipé was so many kilometers. So they'd always talk about the pipé. So 150 pipés would take them to a certain place. And from Fort Lacombe to Fort Gibraltar, they would start with a new pipe. When they got to the Fort Gibraltar, there was only this much left of the pipe. So they chew on it, and they'd get another pipe to start over again. So this is what they were using. So they change. Everyone had a pipe, and they light a pipe and smoke the pipe, and that was so far, and on and on and on and on. Okay. So what's the distance between Fort Lacombe and Fort Gibraltar? How many pipés? Hey? I don't know myself, so I'm asking you. I looked over in my papers and I couldn't find I had the answer, but this old thing here forgets a few things once in a while. Alors, retournons à nos histoires. Ce soir, j'ai des histoires des Métifs, surtout. Les Métifs ont ramassé il y avait des histoires à eux-mêmes et aussi avec des légendes françaises, des légendes indiennes. Alors, il y a tout un tas d'histoires. Mais chez le Métif, il y avait un animal spécial, le loup-garou. Alors, ce soir, on va vous raconter un peu une histoire de loup-garou. Ma mère avait un peu de Métif. Et quand elle se promenait là, autour de Duck Lake, Saint-Laurent, là, Batoche, elle ramassait des histoires et elle me racontait des histoires quand j'étais petit. Alors, je me souviens un peu des histoires de ma mère. Alors ici, cette histoire, c'est au Manitoba. Alors, vous connaissez Saint-François d'Xavier au Manitoba? En rentrant à Winnipeg, là, vous avez le grand cheval blanc là, qui est sur le bord de la route. Là. Ben, ça, c'est Saint-François d'Xavier. V'là un temps, il y avait une colonie métisse très nombreuse à Saint-François d'Xavier. Et ma mère disait que chez Pépère, il y avait un jeune couple qui vivait voisin de chez Pépère. C'était une fille de la paroisse, et lui, c'était un homme qui venait on ne sait pas trop où, et il parlait pas beaucoup, il disait jamais grand-chose, mais c'était un bon chanteur, c'était un bon violonneux, c'est comme ça qu'il avait rencontré sa femme, et il y avait 2 petits. Alors, au Manitoba, à Saint-François-d'Xavier, à tous les ans, on allait faire la cueillette des poirettes. Nous autres, ici, on appelle ça des Saskatoon. Alors ça, c'était très important parce qu'on faisait les confitures pour l'hiver, on en mettait dans le pemmican, alors on cueillait les poirettes. Et ça, c'était une grande fête. Alors le monde du village partait en charrette, tiré par des bœufs ou un cheval ou des chevaux, et on allait au coteau. Alors, et c'est là qu'il y avait beaucoup de poirettes. Alors, on se rendait là. Alors, cette journée ici, Eugénie, qui était le nom de la jeune femme, et Modeste, son mari, Eugénie s'avait cousu une belle robe neuve pour la fête, parce que c'était vraiment une fête. Alors, une robe indienne en calicot, avec des belles fleurs rouges dessus, hein. Très belle robe. Et Modeste, il n'était pas pressé pour partir. Il ne voulait pas partir avec le reste du groupe. Alors, quand les autres ont été partis, là, Modeste, il met la cruche dans la charrette, puis du manger, puis il embarque les petits, puis Eugénie embarque, puis là, on part pour aller cueillir des poirettes. Presque en demi-chemin, Modeste, ce matin-là, il n'était pas de bonne humeur. Il était jongleur, puis habituellement, en charrette, il chantait, puis les enfants chantaient avec lui. Et ce matin-là, les enfants chantaient, puis ils disaient « Non, fermez-vous, taisez-vous. » Il n'était pas de bonne humeur. Alors, en moitié chemin, il dit à Eugénie, il passe les guides, il dit « Tiens, il dit, conduis le cheval. » Il dit « Moi, je vais aller voir dans la forêt, là. » Il dit « Je veux trouver des saules gris. » Il dit « Pour faire des piquets. » Il dit « Ça me prend à peu près une centaine de piquets pour réparer la clôture du package. » OK. Alors, il débarque, puis Eugénie regarde, il rentre dans le bois. Alors là, Eugénie continue. Puis un petit bout de temps après ça, le cheval commence à s'énerver, puis il sautait, puis il steppait, puis Eugénie tirait ses guides pour le tenir. Puis là, ça rempirait, puis Eugénie regarde. Ah ben, il t'avait une mot, t'as dit atroce bête, une grosse bête noire à côté de la charrette. Une gueule comme ça, des dents. Puis là, Eugénie, elle ne savait plus quoi faire. Elle ne pouvait pas lâcher les guides, puis prendre le fouet, puis frapper ça. Alors, la grosse bête avait juste une idée dans la tête. Il voulait sauter dans la charrette, puis manger Eugénie. Alors là, elle se débattait à mort, puis finalement, il a sauté, puis il a arraché un morceau de robe, déchiré sa robe. Et là, ça a continué. Puis là, elle approchait les autres qui cueillaient des poirettes. Alors, l'animal est parti, puis est rentré dans la forêt. Alors, Eugénie était pas mal secouée de tout ça, hein? Elle avait eu peur pour les petits aussi, hein? Alors, elle raconte ça aux dames, elle raconte ça aux autres femmes, son histoire, pourquoi que sa robe t'a déchiré. Les femmes lui ont dit, ouais, ça n'a pas de bon sens, il n'y a pas d'animal comme ça, ça devait être un gros chien. Eugénie a dit, non, c'était pas un chien. Mais un loup, non, elle dit, c'était pas un loup, elle dit, ça avait une tête énorme, elle dit, puis les yeux rouges comme des braisons, elle dit. Oh, non, ils ont dit non. Alors, Eugénie a continué à cueillir des poirettes avec ses deux petits. Puis là, Modeste arrive. Tout essoufflé. Puis il était tout en sueur. Sa chemise était trempe à travers. Puis, elle n'a pas demandé de questions. Il dit, je suis pressé. Alors, ils ont cueilli le poirette pour la journée. Ils restaient pour dîner. Tout le monde dînait ensemble. On jouait de la musique, on chantait. Puis là, après la cueillette, là, dans l'après-midi, on retournait à la maison. Alors, au retour à la maison, mon Modeste était de bonne humeur. Il chantait. Il avait du plaisir. Les enfants aussi. Alors, ce soir-là, à la table, au souper, mon Modeste a après mangé. Eugénie, elle voit qu'il y avait quelque chose dans le dent, dans la bouche, il y avait quelque chose dans le dent. C'était rouge. Alors, elle prend une aiguille, puis elle sort ça. C'était un fil rouge de sa robe. Oh! Elle dit, ça n'a pas de bon sens. Elle dit, mon Modeste, c'est un loup-garou. Oh! Elle dit, je ne peux pas dire ça à personne. Elle dit, si je dis ça à quelqu'un, elle dit, ils vont le tuer. Alors là, elle a laissé ça comme ça, elle ne l'a pas dit à personne. À peu près un mois après, Modeste était allée dans le bois travailler, chercher du bois pour l'hiver. Et elle a dit, je vais aller quérir les vaches. Elle dit, pour aider à Modeste. Alors, elle rouvre la barrière du package. Puis là, il y avait un gros bâton à terre, un gros bâton. Puis il y a quelque chose qui lui disait, t'es mieux de ramasser ça, ce bâton-là. Alors, elle se penche, puis elle ramasse le bâton. Puis là, elle va chercher les vaches. Puis elle s'en venait avec les vaches. Puis tout à coup, une grosse bête noire qui sort des broussailles, un animal terrible, puis il s'en venait vers elle, là. Puis elle, là, elle dit, faut pas que je fige, je dis. Elle lève son bâton, puis elle dit, faut que je le frappe sur le nez, hein. Puis là, la maudite animal, il courait pas après les vaches. Il s'en venait directement sur le génie. Puis là, il s'élance sur le génie, puis pow! L'animal roule d'un buisson. Puis là, Eugénie reste là, toute transie, elle ne savait plus quoi faire, épeurée à mort. Et là, tout à coup, elle attend des gémissements. Puis elle écoute bien. Puis c'était pas des gémissements d'humains, c'était pas des gémissements de bêtes sauvages, c'était un gémissement humain. Alors, elle s'approche tranquillement du buisson, écarte les branches, puis elle rentre en arrière d'un coup. Modeste était sur le dos, avec du sang partout sur le nez. Alors, elle prend son tablier, elle court à la colis, elle trempe son tablier, puis elle revient, elle lui lave la figure. Puis là, Modeste se réveille, un beau sourire, il était contente. Il dit, j'étais assez contente, Eugénie. Il dit, pour chasser le loup-garou, il dit, il fallait que tu me frappes. Il fallait que tu frappes le loup-garou sur le nez puis le faire saigner. Il dit, c'est le seul moyen de le faire sortir de moi. Il dit, là, maintenant, il dit, il n'y a plus de loup-garou. Mais il dit, hey, Eugénie, il dit, tu frappes fort en maudit. Il dit, je pense que tu m'as cassé le nez. Il dit. Mais il dit, c'est correct. Il dit, ça va faire. Il dit. Alors, c'est comme ça que Eugénie a sorti le loup-garou de Modeste, qui le hantait pendant des années puis des années. Et c'est ça. Merci.
Monsieur Marchildon, je vous remercie bien. Une bien bonne histoire.
Ah oui?
Ah oui, mais espérant que ça n'arrive pas trop par ici, ces loups-garous.
Oui, j'espère que non.
Mais apparemment, ce qu'il faut faire, c'est Pâques, hein?
Oui.
Tant qu'on ne fait pas nos Pâques, à un moment donné, on vire en loup-garou.
Ah ben oui, ça se peut, ça.
C'est ça, hein?
Ouais, c'est ça.
If Elvis Presley is the king of, and Michael Jackson the king of, John Arcand would be the king of Métis fiddling. Vous allez voir de la belle musique. Ça va jouer du violon. Et à la guitare, the king of guitar picking and playing. If only I knew his name. Moi, t'as dit, ça vaut pas cher, mais je vais le prendre pareil. On accueille chaleureusement John Arcand et Freddie Pelletier.
All right, thank you. The first tune we wanted to play, it's called the Fort Pitch Reel, and this is a brand new reel that I wrote last winter. Hope you enjoy it. Sounds good from up here anyway, the guitar playing that is. Here's the real de claquette.
Well, I've got time for a little story here. Dans un vieux couvent, in this convent near Lac-la-Biche, la mission Notre-Dame-des-Victoires. Les bonnes sœurs mangeaient toujours des œufs. They had lots of chickens and they were always eating eggs. And they would say, on mange des œufs. Tout le temps des œufs. Des œufs le matin, des œufs le soir. But one day, the bishop was going to come and have a visit in the convent and to see all the young students and to bless the mission. Monseigneur Faro. And the head nun, Mother Superior, said, we have to make a special meal. We can't just serve the bishop eggs for supper. So what could we do? And then she went to see the cooking, the nun that was responsible for cooking. She was good at cooking eggs. I mean, she knew how to make omelets and sunny side up and no easy over, you know. So that whole day she's looking all over the place thinking, what kind of meat can I put with these eggs? And by pure coincidence, as she was praying, you know, she was praying Saint Jude, patron des causes perdues, hein? C'était presque une cause perdue. Saint Jude, you know. And from the kitchen window, all of a sudden on the branch, there came a monkey. You know, Lac-la-Biche, monkeys are rare, but there's meat. She opened up the window and grabbed the monkey by the tail and bang on the table. And she prepared this meal. Monseigneur Faro, the bishop, he was sitting at the end of the big table and he was eating. Mais que c'est bon, c'est délicieux. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est si bon, on en mange rarement à l'évêché. He had never tasted anything like it. And that's when the cook came over and said, c'est du Saint-Joseph. Du Saint-Joseph. Avait mis des œufs avec le singe. Oui. Ah, il a mangé du Saint-Joseph. Ah, c'est comme ça qu'on n'a pas compris, on expliquera plus tard. We can't have les tables rondes avec les métis et les francophones without step dancing. We've got special step dancers for you today. Jigging or step dancing, is it the same? Oh, it's Red River jigging. I mean, it's Red River jigging. Hey! The dancers have been their students, and the Gabriel Dumont Institute has this program called Sunstep. Is that what it is? Suntep. Okay. I'm learning, you see. That's why I've come to North Battleford. Suntep. And their names, Jed Huntley and Nicole Moreau. Moreau. And the dance is called Saint Joseph. No, Red River Jig. There's nothing like the good old Red River jig. Well, let me present to you, if you don't know them already. On the acoustic guitar, there's Freddie Pelletier, his son Clinton Pelletier. Come on. On the fiddle, Daniel Gervais and his great-grandfather, Saint Joseph. No, John Arcand. Let's hear it for them.
John wanted me to buy some time while he just retrieved his fiddle from the Red River Jig. So let's listen to him tune. It's quite nice. No. Just kidding around. So it's a very big honor to be here on stage with these fine folks. And we're going to play for you a waltz called Min Fogel's Waltz.
Well, on prend une petite pause de 15 minutes, a short break. Stay tuned, don't change the channel. We'll be back shortly. All the musicians have CDs for sale at the door. Que c'est? Ah, voulez-vous un autre? You want to hear another tune? So we won't be taking a short break. Here we go. Let's go right now. We'll take the break later on. Yeah. Okay. Put it And now for a short break. 15 minutes, 15 minutes. They've got CDs for sale. And good music coming up.
Thank you. Merci tous. Tranché, bienvenue. I'd like to acknowledge all the elders here, both Métis and Francophone. Bienvenue à tout le monde. Welcome to this launch of the Gabriel Dumont Institute resource, Pierriche Falcon, the Michif Rhymester. I'd like to start by thanking the organizing committee of this event. Merci, as they say in Michif, Frédéric, Peter, Viola, Wayne, Henri, Dominique, and Claude. Thank you also for all the organizing committee for the cultural component of this wonderful evening. Merci, and Michel, Roger, Claude, Frédéric, and Bruce. The Gabriel Dumont Institute would like to thank the Institut français and the local Métis community for working so hard to have this wonderful event and allow us to participate. Merci tous. Thank you all. Tonight, the Institute is launching its new resource, Pierriche Falcon, the Michif Rhymester. Before I speak further, I'd like to acknowledge all the direct descendants of Pierre Falcon in attendance, particularly Mr. Normand Falcon, the oldest descendant of Pierre Falcon, as well as Bruce Falcon, Wayne Falcon, and John Arcand. Pierre Falcon has many more descendants, and I'm sure I missed some here today, and if I did, I apologize. This was a special project for the Gabriel Dumont Institute. As Paul Chartrand told you earlier, Pierre Falcon was a very important person in Métis history. In 1819, he composed, either verbally or in the oral tradition, the Métis anthem, the Battle of Frog Plain or La Grenouillère. The song is the oldest patriotic song originating in Canada, and it is a Métis anthem, a Michif anthem. It's thoroughly Métis. It's a generation older than Antoine Gérin Lejoie's Un Canadien errant, which was written in 1842, and it's 2 generations older than Clix Lavallée and Adolphe Basel-Rothier's O Canada, which was originally a French-Canadian patriotic song written in 1880. So it's a very old song, a generation older than the first Francophone patriotic song, and 2 generations older than O Canada. So it has long roots in this country. This resource contains a historical and cultural essay by Paul Chartrand. It focuses on Michif, or Métis nationalism, the Michif languages, and Pierre Falcon. In 2003, Paul approached the Gabriel Dumont Institute about producing a resource that restored the original Michif voice of Pierre Falcon's songs. By the 20th century, the oral Michif voice of Pierre, or Pierriche Falcon's songs, had more or less disappeared, and the songs had been collected and changed and adapted by Francophones living in Western Canada. Paul wanted to restore the original Michif voice, the original Michif French voice and feel and worldview to the songs. So he undertook to translate them back into Michif French or Métis French. Last summer, the Gabriel Dumont Institute brought together John Arcand and Desmond Legace, 2 Métis musicians, and Krystle Pederson and Guy Dumont, 2 Métis singers, to sing Pierre Falcon's songs at John and Vicky Arcand's studio outside of Saskatoon. Guy sang in Michif French and Krystle sang in English. This project is therefore a book and CD containing 9 songs, 4 in Michif French, or Métis French, and 5 in English. For this launch, Paul will discuss the book and will do a small reading perhaps, or he'll discuss Pierre Falcon. Following that, Krystle, John, and Desmond will be performing a few of Pierre Falcon's songs, including the Battle of Frog Plain, the first Métis anthem. Following that, and we have been selling books earlier, we will be selling books out in the lobby. They're for $20. They contain the CD. Paul, John, and Desmond and Krystle are around, so if you see them, please ask them to sign. Hopefully, sometime afterwards, they'll sign as well. I'd like to thank all those who contributed to this project since its inception. Thank you, merci, to Paul Chartrand, Maria Campbell, who was an inspiration, Cheryl Troop, my former colleague, David Morin and Karen Schmann, my current colleagues, Guy Dumont, Vicky Arcand, John Arcand, Desmond Legace, Krystle Pederson, and special person in my wife Carrie Prefontaine, Nee Runstedler. I'd also like to acknowledge the Officer of the Interlocutor for Métis and Non-Status Indians and the Department of Canadian Heritage for funding this resource. Merci, thank you all. One last thing I'd like to do is I'd like to call upon Mr. Arcand to come up. I'd like to give him a book on behalf of the Gabriel Dumont Institute. Merci, thank you all.
J'inviterai maintenant M. Paul Chartrand à monter sur la scène. Mr. Paul Chartrand. Ah, M. Chartrand. Il passe par ici. La marche n'est pas haute.
Is this working?
Oui, c'est bon.
Oh, okay, thanks. I'm completely a stranger to a stage like this and so on. I'm lost. And it's dark out there. Is there anybody out there? I can't see anymore. Anyway, I've launched a few books, but they've not been books like this one. They've been books on what I'm sure you'd consider very dry, boring subjects like constitutional law. So this is a first for me, even in book launchings. I don't want to take up much time. I just want to thank people. Much of the blame for the production of the book belongs to Darren, who just spoke here. He was a driving force behind the whole thing. So very helpful in every way. So I thank Darren and Karen Schmann and the GDI people, for organizing to publish this pamphlet. I want to extend my regards and greetings to all the elders and the community people who've been here. It's been a pleasure in the last couple of years to work with some of the individuals who are responsible for organizing this evening out of the University of Regina, organizing these Métis and Francophone roundtables. So extend my congratulations and greetings to them as well. I want to say too that it has one of the wonderful experiences I've had in the context of writing this thing is meeting actual descendants of Pierriche Falcon. You've seen some here, so I thought there might be lights and I want to acknowledge them and say stand up or something, but nobody can see anything. But anyway, I just want to acknowledge these descendants of Pierriche Falcon. So this gives the the whole project, the whole thing, a real sense of a personal sense that it's something important to people, like the song was for such a long time. I wanted to tell you too something really surprising and I think important for me anyway. Happened today. As Darren was saying, I pursued my interest in Falcon's song through written records, and including the National Archives and other places, with Darren's help and the help of other people. And I wasn't, the written record really said that this song was sung until at least the 1870s, 1880s, because it was sung right here at the Colitoron, Fish Creek in Batoche, you see, by the men fighting there. And that's as far as the written record went. And then this afternoon, I went to one of the sessions that you have here. And André Gladieux was showing a documentary on Métis languages, and actually French languages, different versions of it in the Americas. And I was stunned when I saw and heard Paul Lavallée from Saint-Ambroise, which is just about 15 miles along the lake from Saint-Laurent, where I'm from. And he was interviewed there in 1980, and he was singing this song, you know, so it's quite amazing. You know, I didn't realize that our neighbors right there, they were keeping that rich tradition alive. And so I think it's good at the same time that this publication is being introduced in the context of this coming together of two communities. And I guess what you're seeing tonight, which I'm enjoying, is what I called accidentally this afternoon cross-cultural fertilization, when I realized it wasn't the best word. But we all learn from one another and we steal from one another. I use that Woody Guthrie's famous line, with people stealing lines from people, and he said, I don't mind that people steal from me, I steal from everybody. And then he says, plagiarism is basic to all culture. So what I wanted to say is to those who, I think on the French-Canadian side, invented that maple syrup pie with cream or whatever it is there, I want to plagiarize, I want to borrow that part, I'll tell you. That was, that was really good. What I wanted to tell you about, too, is another memorable experience that I had in working on this thing was the organization of a national conference on Métis issues at the University of Saskatchewan a few years ago with Maria Campbell, and she organized an evening and a dinner and so on. We had all kinds of food, everything from muskrat, moose nose, fish to wild rose petal jelly and bison steaks and so on. But one of the features of the night was something you're going to hear tonight, which was Krystle Pederson singing that song, Falcon's song, the Michif National Anthem. And I was wondering then about the possibility that this might have been the first time in a very long time that it had been sung publicly. But I want to tell you that when Krystle sang that song and without the musical accompaniment, it was just an amazing experience. And as soon as she finished, the moment she finished, the whole place just exploded. You know, people just spontaneously just jumped up and gave her a standing ovulation for about 5 minutes or something. So some of you got that. I try. Sometimes I try to be too subtle with humor. But anyway, I want to conclude. I hope I didn't miss anybody in thanking the people who helped out with this, and I'll gladly sign copies over there after this is done. But what I wanted to say is emphasize what I said at the beginning, which is just, this is a first for me. Like I've never before written anything for popular reading, as it were, and you know, so it's something new. It's the first time that I've tried that. Before that, I wrote very dry, you know, legal analyses and books and so on. So if we were launching a book on constitutional law or something, I might get a little persnickety and, you know, responding to a critical comment. But I can assure you that because I'm a complete amateur, you know, with this project, I'll be more than happy to welcome any comments that people, you know, might have about it, saying, well, you know, should have done this way or that way or on. So it's the work of an amateur. So again, thank you, GDI, and thank you, all of you, for a very good evening. Chumigwech. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Paul Chartrand. Thank you very much. Well, I'm lucky enough to have the book already. I've read the whole book, and there's nothing amateur about it. It's a really, really good book, and I would strongly recommend the series. Just wonderful, and you'll hear that right now. He was talking about the ovulation. We might get that too. No, it's a really good book. There's information about Pierriche Falcon, also about the songs, and of course the CDs. Just a wonderful thing to have. Je vous présente maintenant. This is a very special moment. Je vous présente, I present to you. I gotta find the right names. There's Desmond, John, and Krystle Pederson. On les accueille.
Thank you. The first song we are going to perform for you is called Le General Dixon. It's in Red River, the news have arrived. It's in Red River, the news have arrived. An army general who comes to her, he comes to her. Regiment Master, you Mr. Cuthbert Grant, Regiment Master, my silver epaulets, I give to you. Me General Dixon, I seek my crown. Me General Dixon, I seek my crown. I seek my crown. Where live the Spanish men, since he of Mexico, many generals, city of Mexico, many generals and cannoneers who will crown you. Farewell, my officers, you've all abandoned me. Farewell, my officers, you've all abandoned me. Written on the record, Dixon, poor warrior, bourgeois of company, I owe you thanks. Bourgeois of company, I owe you thanks for having returned me to Fort Mackenzie. I have to thank you because with your money, I have to thank you because with your money, I've been guided by two war brûlés who has made this song a poem of the canton, who has made this song a poem of the canton. At the end of the song, we will name him for you. One day being at the table for drinking and singing. One day being at the table for drinking and singing. To sing a long time the new song. Friends, drink and clink your glass, salute the song. Friends, drink and clink your glass, salute the song of Pierriche Falcon, the maker of songs. Thank you. Our next song we're going to do is called The Dance of the Bois Brûlés. Come quickly, come today. Rent's mess was bois brûlés. And Lord William, Lord Talon gives a ball. Now hurry, don't delay. You'll sing and dance and play. The band strikes up, there's food and fun for all. McNabb now all should see. Our friend McGilvory, he'll add distinction to our famous ball. And if you think you'll dare come draw near. Your chair is over here. We want no gloom here at our ball. So doctor, here this day we'll sing and skip and play. The band strikes up, there's fun and food for all. Good trader, join our dance. There's Fraser's nose, one glance tells us that he will like our little ball. There's even a drink for free. We'll dance abundantly. The band strikes up, there's fun and food for all. Muron, without delay, please play us something gay. A lively tune to start our happy ball. Respected bois brulee, just hop and jump and play. The band strikes up, there's fun and food for all. My lord, we now express our thanks for your kindness. When can we traders give you such a ball? Now men, your joking stop, just dance and slide and hop. The band strikes up, there's fun and food for all. Formalities away, we will join the dance today. Lord, his faith, the devil take it all. And let him dance, we say, while all his fiddles play. 100 years or more and such a ball.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure being on this project and to be able to sing these songs and to be a part of the history. It's a pleasure. So the last song that we are going to sing is the one that Paul was talking about. It's the Falcon song.
Would you like to hear me sing of a true and recent thing? It was June 19th, the band of war brûlée arrived that day, all the brave warriors they. Well, we were just about to unhorse when we heard two of us give voice. Two of our men cried, hey, look back, the Anglo-Sac coming for to attack. Right away, smartly we veered about, galloping at them with a shout. You know we did trap all those grenadiers, they could not move those horseless cavaliers. Now we like honorable men did act, sent an ambassador, yes, in fact. Monsieur Governor, would you like to stay a moment's bed? There's something we'd like to say. Governor, Governor, full of our soldiers, he cries fire, fire. So they fire the first and their muskets flew. They almost killed our ambassador. Governor thought himself a king. He wished that I rod to swing. Like a lofty lord, he tried to act like love on Chapel Beach. Too hard to act. When we went galloping by, Governor thought that he would try. For to chase them, frighten us, but what relate catastrophe? Dead on the ground he lay. Dead on the ground, lots of grenadiers too. Plenty of grenadiers, a whole slew. We've almost stamped out his whole army of so many. 504 left there be. You should have seen those Englishmen, probably chasing them. From bluff to bluff they stumbled that day, while that one who they shouted hooray. Tell me who made up this song, why it's our own poor Pierriche Falcon. Yes, she was written this song of praise for the victory we won this day. Yes, she was written this song
Thank you.
Let's give it up for Krystle Pederson, Desmond, and John. And the last song she sang was La Grenouillère. And we're going to hear it I think it's in French or Michif French later on in the show. Maintenant, j'inviterai à monter sur la scène, c'est Freddie et Clinton. Ah oui, c'est vrai. Je pense qu'on y est deux. A good friend of mine, a good storyteller, he's got a story for us in Michif. Gilbert Pelletier. We did workshops about storytelling in Willow Bunch and even here in North Battleford, and we always have a good laugh.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I think I'm going to have to sit down. I've been up and around since 5 o'clock this morning. And this guy, he's given me a very long day here. And I'm very tired. And anyway, you guys like to have a dance too, so.
Okay, take your time.
I'm just going to tell you when these old people used to tell stories like my dad and, and people his age would tell stories. And, they'd have a little competition, who could tell the best story, eh? And my dad told one of his visitors, he says, we were poor. And he says, I was out looking for a job and I couldn't find one. And he says, we ran out of food. And he says, I ran out of bullets for my gun and I had no way of killing anything. But he said, when we stopped, he said, I went to this slough, he said, and there was a big slough. He said, right in the center of that slough, he said, it was a big opening. And he said, there was a big rock there. And he said, the rabbits were all over, like signs of rabbits were all over there. But he said, I had no way to kill them. I tried hanging a snare with my shoelace, and it didn't work. And I thought, what am I going to do, to get some rabbits, to get something to eat for my family, to make some rababoo. And he said, I thought of something. So I went back to our camp, he said, and I got some pepper. He said, I got a can of pepper, and he said, I sprinkled it all around that rock, he said, right close to the rock, he said. And I waited in the willows. And these rabbits started coming out, he said. And of course, when they sniffed this pepper, he said, every time they sneezed, said their head would hit the rock. And they'd knock themselves out, he says, and I'd run up there and pick them up. and this other guy really, made believe that he believed my dad, but he knew it was a real BS story. So he says, well, it happened to me too, he says. I was hunting, he says, and they always carried a pack sack. He said, when I was walking through this bush and I saw this big moose, he said, standing in the bush. So he said, I put down my pack, he said, and I took aim. He said, and I shot. The moose went down. So I picked up my bag, and he said, just as I was going to walk away, there he was standing there again. He says, what's wrong? My gun, maybe something wrong with it. So I loaded up again, he said, and I shot him. Down he went again. And I waited for a while, and picked up my sack. Just as I was going to walk away, I see him standing there again. Well, now I knew there was something wrong with my gun. So he said, maybe my bullets, there was something wrong with my bullets. Okay, so he checked his bullets. There was nothing wrong with his bullets, nothing wrong with his gun. So he said, I shot again. But this time, he says, I loaded up my gun right away and I waited. If he got up again, I was going to shoot him right away. He said, he didn't get up. I picked up my sack, he said, and I went to where my moose was. There was 3 moose laying there. They must have been sleeping, he said. And every time I shoot one, he'd wake up the other one. I got all 3. But my dad said, I think you're telling me a lie. But these were little competitions that they had, telling each other stories like this. And, before they got really serious and tell serious stories. But, you know, these little competitions went on and on. They didn't say they were competing, but you knew they were competing because when they start telling stories like that, you know, that somebody's got to be ahead of the other. They're trying to beat one another who could tell the best story. This guy from the States came down and he said, you know, I got a story to tell you guys what happened over there. He said, I'm from the States. And his name was Alec Boyer. I don't know if any of you guys ever hear of him, but, you know, he says, you know, we were hungry too. We were poor people out there too. But he says, I'm a Métis. But over there, he said, they called me an Indian. He says, I'm an Indian out there. But when I come here to Canada to visit you guys, he says, I'm a Métis. But he says, us Métis out that way, he said, we have a hard time too. He says, when we were hunting, we hunt, he said, but all we had was 22s. We never had a rifle. All we had was a 22 to hunt with. And he said, we had no big game like you guys got out here because us, it's all prairie. He said, we don't have any moose or elk or deer out there. So, but we had a lot of ducks. He said, I went hunting one time, and he said, I would come up to a slough, he said, and the ducks, oh, they were just loaded. But all I had was one bullet. So he said, when I was thinking, what am I going to do with these ducks? And they were all sitting around the edge, nothing in the center. They were all around the edge. So he says, I took my gun, he says, and I bent that barrel just about right when I figured. He said, of course, when I shot, he said, my bullet went right clean around that slough. He said. And Dad said, when did this happen? He said, a week before I come over here. I'm not going to take any more of your time because I am very tired and, you know, I got to get some sleep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilbert. Good job. We'd have to go hunting sometimes. You can show me those tricks. Well, as Freddie and Clinton are getting ready, on vous conter une petite histoire. C'est arrivé par chez nous, ça. À Plamondon. In Plamondon, they were trying to find a way to get more revenue for the town. And that's when they realized a few years ago that tourism was a good way to make money. But how could they attract tourists? And then one of the guys nearby had a helicopter. He said, we can do this. They do this nowadays. It's called parachuting. You throw the tourists out of the helicopter with parachutes, and they'll pay big money, you know, and then people want to do that nowadays, risk their lives on bungee jumping and parachuting. And well, in the hospital, just beside the Plamondon, au lac La Biche, il y avait le curé. The priest, he would go to the hospital every day, but he found that on Sundays there was a lot more patients. So he went to see one of them, and he said, who are you? He said, I'm one of the tourists. He said, don't tell me you were parachuting. He said, yes. And he's all crippled, all his whole body's in a cast and all tied up. He said, when did you jump? He said, yesterday. Well, yesterday was Sunday, you see. And that's when the priest said, you should know that in Plamondon, le dimanche, il n'y a rien qui rouvre le dimanche. Nothing opens on Sundays. You see? That's why. Mesdames et messieurs, Clinton and Freddie Pelletier.
We're going to do you an old tune right now. Does anybody remember the name Red Foley? Yeah. Well, this is an old Red Foley tune. He had a fellow by the name of Hank Garland played guitar for him, and Hank Garland wrote a guitar exercise, and Red Foley liked it so much that he decided to write a song out of it. So here's a guitar and a fiddle exercise and a Red Foley tune. I'm gonna get out my sycamore, shine up my shoes, meet my honey and tell her the news. Get my butt up on the sway back now, you know, come home later with the swing and the swag. A 1 foot, 2 foot, slew foot drag swing. Your honey to the sugar foot rag. But if you're jigging the zick and the zag, now you listen to her fiddle player play that sugar foot rag.
Cider and a bottle of wine. One's for Clinton, Freddie, and the other one's mine. Sip on the cider and we sip on the wine. We both sit together and we have a good time. 1 foot, 2 foot, silver drag swing. Go on to the sugar foot rag, do a little jig, zig and a zag, and listen to the two guitars. But the sugar foot rag. Get up my money and get on a jack. Swing my honey to the sugar foot rag. One, 2 foot slipper drag. Swing your honey to the sugar foot rag. Little jig and a zig and a zag. Now listen to the old man. He plays that sugar foot rag. Silver drag, swing your hand to the sugar foot rag. Do a little jig, a zig and a zag, and listen to us speed up that sugar foot rag.
Well, let's get those dancers back on stage for the Red River Jig, Part 2. So it's 6 different changes. The dancers again. Let's hear it for John Hentley and Nicole Moreau. Well, the times have changed so much. Just spending these few days here in North Battleford, I've seen how much the times have changed. Well, just the other day, there was a little girl and her mother, they were walking. And the little girl asks her mother, "Mom, how old are you?" And she said, "You know, you don't want to ask that to a lady." "Why?" Well, she says, "Because some ladies don't like people to know their age, you see. It's respectful." "Oh, okay." She kept walking. Then she asks her mother, "Mom, how much do you weigh?" Well, you see, this is another question you don't ask ladies. Sometimes they don't like to say how much they weigh. You know, they can get shy, and it's being respectful. You just don't ask those questions. Okay. They kept walking. And then she said, "Mom, why did you and Dad get divorced?" Oh, that's another question you don't ask, you see, because it gets us uncomfortable, and then all bad feelings come back, and we just don't like to talk about that kind of thing. Okay. Well, her mother dropped her off at the la gardienne. Aidez-moi. Daycare. Tu vois? And she was with her friends and playing, and she said to her friends, "It's funny, nowadays I can't talk about nothing with my mom." She says that we can't ask questions to ladies. "What kind of questions?" He says, "Well, we can't know how much she weighs, her age." Her friend says, "It's so easy. You got to go in her purse, look on her driver's license. Everything's there. It's like a report card, you see." Oh, so she goes home, looks in the purse, finds the driver's license, and the next day they were walking, and she says, "Mom, looking at you, I could say you're about 35 years old." "My gosh, that's right. I'm 35 years old, but don't tell the others." "Oh, I won't." And she's all proud, you know, and they're walking, and then she says, "And you know, I think you weigh 130 pounds. My, how can you tell that? Well, I just know. Keep on walking. And then she stops and she says, I also know why you got divorced with Dad. She says, why is that? You got an F for sex. This is the Alexis Trio.
Que je les côtoie, des jeunes, des vieux, le nombre me foudroie. Toujours en groupe de deux, les amants. Voilà un joli couple qui s'embrasse, une peine fixée entre eux dans leur regard, un adieu éternel plein de tendresse. C'est le 5e que je vois et j'en ai marre. Parmi les va-et-vient et les retards, je remarque seulement les amants de la gare. L'amour est le poison qui rend ivre de passion et se transforme en dépendance sans vouloir. Le couple en face de moi, il se ressemble un peu trop parfaitement à mon avis. Tête blonde, yeux bleus vêtus d'un même ensemble, profondément et respire la même vie. Entre une dame pressée au teint mocha, aux lèvres rouges et au parfum de lilas, nerveuse pour l'arrivée de son petit ami. Dans ses yeux, je vois son appétit. Parmi les va-et-vient et les retards, je remarque seulement les amants de la gare. L'amour est le poison qui rend ivre de passion et se transforme en dépendance sans vouloir. Regarde-les sourire dans leurs yeux. Regarde-les, ils se font un plan pour deux. Qu'ont-ils de si précieux, ces gens contents? Est-ce possible d'aimer autant que ces amants? Ça fait 1 heure que dans la gare, je contemple le poids de mon désir d'être aimé. Mon cœur est tiraillé par ces exemples. Serais-je mieux seul ou accompagné? Parmi les va-et-vient et les retards, je remarque seulement les amants de la gare. L'amour est le poison qui rend ivre de passion, mais j'envie les amoureux de la gare.
La thématique de cette fin de semaine en est une de rencontres et d'échanges culturels. Et je suis certaine que tout le monde qui part de cette fin de semaine aura une expérience très personnelle qui vont retenir de la fin de semaine. Puis moi, je ne suis pas une exception. Même les musiciens, tu sais, on vient de backgrounds différents, puis on est ici en échange. Mais la prochaine chanson en est une que, en fait, c'est une rencontre culturelle que j'ai faite toute seule, avec justement une chanson de Pierriche Falcon. Alors, c'était une rencontre intéressante. C'était une histoire que j'ai découverte et que je me suis appropriée de ma façon. Alors, voici La Grenouillère.
Voulez-vous écouter et chanter une chanson de vérité? 19 de juin, la bande de bois brûlé est arrivée comme de braves guerriers. En arrivant à la grenouillère, on a fait 3 prisonniers des Arcanies qui sont ici pour prier notre pays. Tant sur le point de débarquer, 2 de nos gars sont arrivés, 2 de nos gars sont arrivés. Voilà l'anglais qui vient nous attaquer. Tout aussitôt nous avons reviré et nous avons été les rencontrer. Mais la bande de grenadiers est immobile, ils sont tous démontés. Nous avons agi comme des gens d'honneur, nous avons envoyé un ambassadeur. Le gouverneur, voulez-vous arrêter un petit moment? Nous voulons vous parler. Le gouverneur qui se croyait empereur, il est à dire ville d'attirer. Le premier coup, c'est l'anglais qui l'a tiré, l'ambassadeur. Ils ont manqué de le tuer. Le gouverneur qui se croyait empereur, il a agi avec rigueur. Le gouverneur raison, empereur de son malheur, agit trop de rigueur. Il a passé ses bois brûlés, et vous êtes parti pour les épouvanter. Étant parti pour les épouvanter, il s'est trompé, il s'est bien fait tuer. On a tué en masse de ces grenadiers, on a tué en masse de ces grenadiers. On a tué presque toute son armée, sur toute la bande, 4 ou 5 sont sauvés. Si vous aviez vu tous ces Anglais et tous ces bois brûlés après, de but en but, les Anglais culbutaient les bois brûlés. J'étais des cris de joie. Qui a composé la chanson? Pierriche Falcon, poète du canton. Elle a été faite et composée sur la victoire que nous avons gagnée.
Merveilleux. J'inviterai maintenant à monter sur la scène Freddie, Clinton, Daniel et John, qui vont nous jouer un reel qui s'appelle le reel Louis Riel. C'est ça que c'est, hein?
next piece that we're going to do, the last piece of the whole evening here, is called Whiskey Before Breakfast. Start the day off well with a little whiskey before breakfast. And so thank you very much to Michel and everybody, and here we go.
2, 3, go.
J'inviterai maintenant à monter sur la scène tout le monde. Jusqu'à ça. John Arcand, Freddie Pelletier, Clinton Pelletier, Daniel Gervais, Alexis Normand, Dallaire, Scott Sproul, Krystle Pederson, Desmond Legace, Judd Huntley, Nicole Moreau. Come on up. Hey! Et au son, on a Derek Gould, au son et l'éclairage. Et évidemment, le grand directeur artistique de tout, notre cher ami Michel Merci beaucoup. Thank you for coming. Bonsoir.